Hey there, welcome to Hop's Metal Show Live. It's Wes, Hop, and String. We are here with Dallas Dwight. Hop, I'm going to turn it over to you to welcome him and get things rolling.
All right, welcome, Dallas. I guess let's start off by just give the audience a little bit information about your band. Guess how long you've been at it and what got started and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for having me. Yeah, like you guys said, I'm Dallas Dwight. I play with the LA Maybe. We're from Charlotte, North Carolina. We actually got started from kind of the story we tell is we were part of a Journey tribute band, which is partially true. Some of us were, some of us came on later. And yeah, we were just doing the Journey tribute thing, and then we kind of looked around at each other and said, hey, we have pretty good makings of a band right here. Let's see if we can write our own music. So we started doing that, and played a bunch of shows, cover shows and stuff. And then the pandemic hit and cut all of our cover shows off. We couldn't do them anymore. So we decided to hit the studio, record what became Dirty Damn Tricks. We did that over the summer of 2020 pretty much, and then sent it off to be mixed towards the end of the year. And then that came out March 26th, 2021. So that kind of was the inception of this band. And that's the real short version, sparing all the boring details. But that's pretty much where we germinated from.
You want to take it on String? Is he there?
Someone asked me where the name came from. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, well, you might as well go and answer that while we're on there.
So I heard I think I've got a paragraph of text memorized for this by now. But yeah, I was sitting in the Chicago airport and I heard someone behind me say, she gave me the old LA Maybe. And I immediately loved that and knew exactly what this person was saying, and referencing the traditional stereotype of Angelinos being kind of flaky and non-committal and stuff. So we thought that was pretty funny. So texted the band chat and said, guys, we should be called the LA Maybes with an S. And my drummer Foz was like, oh, let's just drop the S. So we dropped the S, and that was how the name stuck. That was before we even knew what kind of music we were going to play, because we all like a bunch of different stuff. So we basically had band meetings about like, hey, what kind of band are we going to be? Are we going to be metal? Are we going to be pop punk? Are we going to be kind of a poppy new 1975 kind of thing? Or are we just we eventually decided to just be what we all kind of grew up with, the harder edge of classic rock. So that's where we landed. However, all of our interests and our abilities lie.
All right. So,
okay, we got some delay here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Major delay.
I think he's muted too.
All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and go with all right, for video for When I'm Going, we talked about earlier. The video, the scenery kind of reminds us from the area we're in, and the solo being played on top of the piano was kind of referenced. I remember Slash playing on top of the piano on November Rain, and
yeah, he does that live, I think, most of the time as well.
Yeah, I'd seen it with him, and I think it was Axel and Elton.
Funny enough, that's actually not where we thought of that idea. I had this vision of the piano in the field.
Oh, really?
And I knew we had access to it. It's not a real piano; it's just a facade. Real one will be stupid heavy. So there's no keyboard in this piano. It's just essentially just literally a shell with keys that don't do anything. And we pulled it down there, backed it off the truck, set it up in the field, and decided, this is the shot that I wanted. I wanted this wheat fields with, and the drone. We had the drone coming in and everything. Our videographer was like, Dallas, why don't you just stand on top of it for the solo? I was like, all right, cool. And it was, I just remember it being super rickety. I was like, I couldn't move at all, or I felt like this whole thing was just going to topple over. And so we got a couple shots of that. And then as we were wrapping up, we looked over in the distance and see some storm clouds. We're like, uh-oh. And it was probably 30 seconds from no rain to torrential downpour. And we're all just loading this piano back onto the truck as fast as we can. And way down, probably a mile on the other side of the fields, Foz, our drummer, is recording drum stuff at that point. So we kind of meet back up in the middle, and everybody's running stuff into the trucks and the cars and stuff. you go back on our Instagram page a while, I think this would have been this time last year. We actually filmed day 2 of that was filmed July 5th. So the day after July 4th last year. And there's a video somewhere around then on our Instagram of you can see the rain. You can see me just drenched, taking the video and everything. And it was really funny. But yeah, we've heard the November Rain comparison a few times to that.
Well, I just know I was talking to Wes. Wes wants to ask a question about the guitar end of it, but I just know that the second time I watched the video, I'm like, I wondered if the rain was planned or if it wasn't planned. So I guess you answered.
No, it was filmed over 2 days. The first day we had all these great plans, and then the rain canceled everything. So luckily we had some stuff done, and then we ended up having to book a different day. That second day that ended up being July 5th. The other day was like first week in June or something, if I remember. And to preface that guitar solo story, Ridge, our videographer, and I had a lot of meetings about this video. I had a lot of specific visions I wanted for it. And one of the visions was in the sense that November Rain has a very iconic solo moment where he comes out of the church and the helicopter shot with the wind and all that. And I wanted not a similar aesthetic shot, but I wanted a similar moment where the solo could kind of have its own moment to shine. And we didn't ever land on what that was going to be, but we agreed to keep our eyes open for any possibilities. We thought maybe I'd stand on a dock out on the lake or something where we kind of nearby or something. And then it started pouring rain and everybody's inside. We're in this old couple's home. They let us use all their fields and they were helping us dry off the drums and stuff. And Ridge and I just looked at Ridge and I said, let's go. So we ran back out into the rain and still just downpouring. And we got the shots that ended up being in the actual video for the solo. We're playing in the rain and all that stuff. That was not fake rain. That was very real.
Was that why you used the Telecaster? Because it was a less expensive guitar to jack up in the rain than the...
No, that Telecaster actually means a lot more to me than those expensive Les Pauls. The story behind When I'm Gone is about my friend Daniel in high school. We kind of grew up together, best friends. He killed himself in 2015. Yeah. So the song's about him. And he was a phenomenal guitar player as well. Me and him kind of came up together playing and teaching each other stuff and always in bands and stuff. And that Telecaster is one of his guitars.
Wow.
So I own 2 guitars. From 2 of Daniel's guitars. One's that blue Tele and one's like a white. It's like the Neil Sean Strat or something. So since that song was for Daniel, I figured it would be fitting to play the Tele for it. If you look in any of our other videos, you'll never see me play another guitar besides a Les Paul. That's kind of my thing. But for that one, I had to pull that one out. And that was a conscious thing from the very beginning when we were recording the album. I said, when we do the video for this song, this is going to be the guitar. Now, it wasn't recorded on that guitar, but that guitar may have been in Sucker Punch. I don't remember. We were trying to figure out how to play one specific part, and it had been sitting on my wall forever with old strings. So Driz and I restrung just the 2 strings that we needed and started tracking with that. So that might actually be on Sucker Punch. I'm not sure if we ended up doing that with different guitar or not, but I believe still that guitar has the 2 new strings and the 4 old ones, though. We still haven't fixed that. It's a very good
Yeah, and again, it's the easiest guitar in the world to change the strings on, so that says something too.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a cool story. And it's something, gosh, who would have thunk it? That's awesome, man. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that was just kind of my homage to him, I guess. And what's nice is actually to build on that, a bunch of people, friends and family growing up and stuff, when they saw it, they immediately texted me and were like, nice, great. I know that guitar, Yeah. So.
All right, String, you dialed in sound wise?
I don't know. I think I'm still lagging behind, but I'm here for whatever I can. Hopefully you can hear me.
Like it's an old B movie and we can watch your lips move later.
Yeah, perfect. The dub version.
Yeah, like an old kung fu movie. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So I think I'm caught up to where we are. So did we go over the Dirty Damn Tricks videos yet, as far as like as a group?
No.
Okay. All right. So one of the questions I had was, all right, so you've got 4 actual videos for the album so far, and then you also have 2 lyric videos. Are y'all planning on doing more for the rest of the songs, or what's
when we release this
future,
deluxe edition? Yeah, we may end up doing that, but we have the deluxe edition coming, which we can talk about more later. That might warrant some new video material. I don't know about I don't think there'll be any more full, actual, real music videos. If anything, it would be kind of a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a visualizer or a lyric video or something in that nature. And then our eyes are really towards album 2 at this point. So new video content will be for that.
All right. So I'd read an insert, I guess it was on Facebook. There's Tom George might have posted this 15 bands that are going to save rock and roll because Gene Simmons says it's dead.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all were one of the 15 bands mentioned, along with Dirty Honey's the first one that comes to mind. I mean, do you feel honored to be in that? I mean, I guess be honored to be in that mention. Are you hoping, do you think rock and roll's in a bad state right now? And what's your view on that?
Yeah. It's funny. I don't think I spend too much time really thinking about that. What I have thought about is the fact that in, I don't know, 10, 15 years, all of our heroes will be dead.
Yeah.
So
I do.
That's kind of a morbid thought, but you can't go see these nostalgia acts anymore when they're not there. So that's an interesting thought to me. So the mantle will have to be taken up at some point, no matter what. So we're just kind of getting on it now. But it wasn't really a conscious decision or anything. It was just, we decided, like I was alluding to earlier, we just decided to write the music that we really loved and what our truest expression of ourselves and our own interests and stuff, what that is, that's what is on our music. And that'll always be our music, whether that changes to a sound that people like or dislike or whatever. That's always what we're going to do. And that just kind of happened to coincide, come along right after Greta Van Fleet and Dirty Honey dropped their stuff. And so it kind of happened to be a part of this whole movement that happened all at once. But we didn't really sit around listening to these bands and think like, oh, we could do that too,
Yeah.
As far as the state of rock music, I've never really thought about it. I don't know. There's always been rock bands. There will always be rock bands. A lot of rock fans like to sit around and kind of bemoan the state of the industry, or you was better in my day, or record labels ruined this, or Spotify ruined that. It's like, hey, it doesn't matter, dude. Just keep doing music. It'll work itself out.
You nailed it. I mean, that's for every industry. It's okay. We can sit around and bitch about it, or we can go ahead and fix it. I mean,
well, it's really funny when you think about the fact that back in the day when TV came along, this new technology, people were like, oh, that's shit. This, it's the written word all day. TV will never catch on. And then if you follow that path, it's all the way up to now, where it's like, oh, auto-tune. It's like whatever it is, name it. It's like, okay, it's just technology marching on and people failing to adapt to change or adapting to change and making millions. It just depends,
Yeah.
Well said, sir. Well said.
The best thing you can do in those instances, I think, is just be true to yourself and do what you want to do. And that authenticity, I think, is more important now than ever. So that's kind of what we strive for.
Very cool.
So
for me, or go ahead, Wes. Go ahead. All right. Well, I was going to say, for me, Sucker Punch is my favorite song on the album. I love the fast pace, right in your face, right from the get go, just right. It's full on the whole time. Tell us a little bit about the meaning behind the song and what that song's about.
Yeah. So we had, that song was a little different for a while. We have something we call amongst ourselves. It's the chorus test, and every song has to pass it. And that is, it has to be a big chorus with a hook that, becomes an earworm, gets stuck in your head. If you listen to our album, you'll notice every song has one of those. And that's because we had that chorus test. And this song used to be called, I think it was called Low Life, High Life or something like that. And it had a very different chorus where it wasn't full on and high speed. It kind of backed off into this like halftime kind of slinky kind of groove, which was also cool. We had some lyrics to that, but the chorus just wasn't sitting well with us. And we were in the studio tracking drums. We did all the production and recording ourselves, but we had a very specific place in one of our homes that we were doing the drums, and we couldn't, just keep it there forever. So we had a weekend to figure this out. And so I told Foz, our drummer, who was playing all the drum parts as they were originally written, I was like, okay, well, just give me the driving groove that, doesn't stop. And we'll write the rest of the chorus later, and I'll go in Pro Tools and just piecemeal your drums together around it to make it fit whatever's going on, because we didn't know what it was going to be. And that's exactly what ended up happening. And we kind of rewrote it and didn't have a lyrical direction until Alvy, our old singer. We went to see him at one of his Night Train, his Guns N' Roses tribute shows. And at the end of the night, we were helping him pack up, just hanging out and stuff. And he went to shake this guy's hand, and the guy just punched him in the face. Like, they kind of he dove off the stage. They got into this kind of scuffle, and security. This guy was like really wacky. As far as I could tell, Albie did absolutely nothing wrong. He was being really nice to the guy and like, hey, thanks so much for coming out. Went to shake his hand, and the guy just knocked him. And I just started thinking about Sucker Punch, and I was like, well, that's a good story. We have to. The song actually is not. The song is not about that, but that's where the title came from. So we took that and adapted it to being like, you know, the LA Maybe. This is our first album, and we're coming at you like a sucker punch swinging. So that's kind of where that.
Very cool.
All right, so I guess a couple weeks, I don't know the exact date, String might remember, but we went to the, I guess it's the Sonic Slam tour with Tom Kiefer, Faster Pussycat, and LA Guns. We seen your opening for, I guess, LA Guns and Faster Pussycat. Tom Kiefer must have another date. Is that exciting playing with them two bands, being that it's your hometown?
Yeah, we're super excited. That venue, Amos's, we played there a bunch, sold it out, all kinds of fun stuff. So we it'll be a homecoming for us for sure. We haven't been playing around home too much lately. We've been overseas and further away from home than normal. But this summer we're back home. We're just hanging out at home, playing shows, you know, locally and to our local area and stuff. And that's going to be one of them. That's going to be really fun. It's kind of full circle because I remember right after, well, I guess it would have been right after we released our album, we got linked up with our then agency, and they got us on a tour. And that tour was going to be Rat, Tom Kiefer, Cinderella, Sebastian Bach, and us. And it was going to be the four of us going out for, I think, like 2 months or something. And then COVID just kept surging and people kept backing out, and it just, it didn't. So that never actually got off the ground. And then I guess that was already the second time that kind of thing was planned. It had already gone through lineup changes. I think it was originally supposed to be other people besides Sebastian Bach or something. We were super stoked about that, and then it got canned, and then it just never came back up. So this is kind of its way of coming back up, I guess. It's just very different than originally planned.
Well, I know the Faster Pussycat and LA Guns, when we saw them, they both brought their A game. I was very impressed with the bands. So
that's good. Yeah, all I know about LA Guns is they requested our name be as far away from theirs as possible on the poster.
Wow. I can understand that, I guess. I don't know why they'd be like that, but
I don't know if that's good or bad, but that's what they said. So I was like, all right. It's a big city.
Yeah.
There's a few other bands I know of from that city as well.
Yeah, and I guess somebody that watches said that they were going to be at that show.
Nice.
They just come from the screen.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's going to be super fun. Amos is July 27. That's right.
Yeah. So for what it's worth, one of those bands that you were supposed to tour with, we saw play, gosh, in the late 90s, and we saw a band called Hair the Dog open for them and absolutely blew them off the freaking stage.
Nice.
And it was in the late 90s. I mean, they do Geico commercials and whatnot now, so I won't mention the rodent they are. But so had you, I think you would have kicked their ass too, because they played shit.
I think it would have been kind of fun because it would have been, there would have clearly been an optical of like here, and I don't say the word old derogatory, but here's the old and here's the new.
Yeah.
And I think that would have been a really fun tour. I think that's what it's going to be at Amos's anyway. You know, here's the old, here's the new.
Yeah, that's going to be.
That's not to call anyone old, but you know, they're older than us, so we'll call them older than us.
Yeah. Well, I know there was a good variety of age at the show we went to. I mean, it was a lot of people our age, but there was, you know, they were bringing their kids and you know, which is the next generation.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, you're part of the next generation.
Yeah, it's important that bands like us get on these shows because you're going to, like you said, you're going to bring your kids to these shows. These bands aren't going to be there anymore after a while. So where are these kids going to go then? You know?
Yeah.
So it's important that, I remember my dad took me to Faster Pussycat at July 27th when I was 8 years old, and I saw this new band open up, and Faster Pussycat isn't around anymore, but this new band's still cooking, so I'm going to go check them out. You know, that kind of thing. So
yeah, that's the way me and String look at it when we go to shows, and Wes the same way. You're always looking for the next talent to carry the torch.
Yeah, we hear a lot of people say, like, especially today, like you were saying earlier, rock's dead, or there's no good bands anymore or anything. It's just so not true. It's just all you're saying at that point is I just haven't looked hard enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. At this point, you could just Google, you know, new good rock band, and there'll probably be 40 things come up.
If not more.
All right, go ahead, String.
All right, so you guys do your podcast on your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And so you guys seem to be a lot like Hop and I, where, you know, we love talking music, anything in music. We're always talking to somebody on the street or whatever at a concert. Like, what physically got you into doing the podcasting, and what was the main drive, I guess, behind all that?
Yeah, there's a few different facets to that. I've always been a fan of podcasts. I actually listen to way more podcasts than I do music these days, and that's been that way for probably 5-10 years now. Yeah, Tom Cruise said the people who say rock is dead don't know what they're talking about. Thank you, Tom Cruise. Love your films. And yeah, so lost my train of thought there. Sorry. Tom got me all thinking about Mission Impossible. Jumping out of planes and climbing buildings. Oh, the podcast. Yeah. So I've always loved podcasts. And Driz approached me one day. We had a podcast back a few years ago that we kind of just shut down and didn't have video or any of that. So Driz hit me up as we were waiting for our agency to get us dates, which never happened. And we were like, you know what? If shows aren't really happening, you know, all shows are is a way to stay in front of your audience. Like, they can listen to your music anytime, anywhere. So shows are just ways to get your face in front of them and deliver that music to them in a different way, a more personal way. So how can we get in front of our audience on a weekly basis? You know, because we'd be playing shows every weekend. What can we do to do that? So Driz had the idea of, he called me one night, was like, let's do a podcast. And this time, let's do it right. Let's take my garden shed, his garden shed. And we gutted the whole thing and built the studio with all kinds of, you know, wood accents and mounting the TV and a nice conference desk and all this stuff. And we did the whole deal because we wanted to make it as legit as we could. And then we just, started recording. That first episode came out, I think, January this year. So 22. We are, 20 something episodes in at this point. Sometimes we have guests on. Most of the time we don't. A lot of times the first 10 episodes, we just went through every track of Dirty Damn Tricks and broke down the Pro Tools session of every single one. And we isolated things. Hey, listen to the gospel choir. Listen how great they sound. Hey, listen to these harmonies here. Hey, listen to this guitar solo. You might have not realized it was this. And, this is the story of how we came up with this riff. And this is, Driz's part live, but I recorded it. Like, just all those little things that you would never really know. And a lot of stuff you might not even really actively hear in the music. So we love breaking down that kind of stuff. So we did that. And then from there, we called it our Your New Favorite Band because, one, we want to be your new favorite band. And two, we want to highlight exactly what I was talking about. All these other great bands that are out there. There's so many. So when we have guests on, they're our new favorite band for the week. We every now and then we'll have just a new favorite band that we've heard about or just played with or something. And we like to talk about and highlight them and give them their due. And it's been a lot of fun. Most of the time we just talk about whatever. But that's kind of the loose premise.
So I'm going to jump in
Hop
and
and
ask
I
you
are
about
when we
episode
get into
21.
Everyone at once now.
Go ahead, Wes.
I'm going to jump in and ask you about episode 21.
Okay. What was? I should preface this by saying I have no idea what I've said, and I apologize to anyone I've offended.
So that was with Matt James.
Yeah. Love Matt. Yeah.
So, gosh, I stumbled onto them. I've not listened. I'm stuck in the 80s. If it's not a hair band, I probably don't have it on my CD rack. So that's where I'm at. These guys are great listening to new music. That's just not where I'm at. So they're turning me on to guys like you and so on and so forth. But I stumbled onto Matt singing Dream On, and I followed them. Matter of fact, just yesterday in the mail came their fourth album. I got a signed copy. So what was that like? And how have you gotten to know those guys?
We have the same publicist, so he linked us up to them, but we've known them for a while. Early on, I think they released something. I don't remember if it was a full album, a cover, something. They released something around the time we released our Dirty Damn Tricks. So we kind of just hit it off, and we tease each other on social media and have some fun with that. And then we just kind of got connected. And when it came time to get some guests on the podcast, it was just an obvious first choice. So. We were super stoked to have them on and Matt, and we spent a lot of time, really just spent time talking about touring and Buc-ee's, which is a gas station.
Buc-ee's, yeah. I went to Dallas to see my stepson, and I went to Buc-ee's. It just blew my mind.
Yeah, we've never been. We're nerds for tour stops though. So,
you definitely got to go. It's an adventure in itself. Yeah,
we're ready.
So, is there a chance that Tom can get you guys hooked up to tour together?
Yeah, that's a little outside of publicist's job description, I guess, but it's certainly not outside the realm of possibility. No. not at all. They played ASMs where we're going to be playing not too long ago. We went down there and saw them and hung out and talked for a bit and stuff. That was a few months back, maybe January, February. And yeah, if you remember back then, even 6 months ago, COVID was raging again. So it was pretty crazy. But yeah, they're always around. They're from the Texas area, somewhere out there. I forget where exactly. And it's a little bit further away. But yeah, we'd love to link up with those guys anytime for sure.
I guess you said you wanted to talk about the deluxe edition. No better time than the present. As far as I guess it's just what extension of the album you have out. You want
right? Yeah. So Dirty Damn Tricks, the deluxe edition. We've added, I think, 6 tracks to that. We're still polishing up a couple last things. It's mostly going to be it's 2 demos, so old recordings we had from 2 songs that were with our original singer, who is now back with us. And so you'll get to hear him on those original recordings, which we've actually had a surprisingly amount of demand for. For anyone that knew us before Dirty Damn Tricks, they've always been asking for some of these songs back because we pulled them all. And so this is our way of kind of sneaking them back in for the people that are looking for that. And for the people that aren't, they might get something out of it as well. And then we've added the rest are 3. So we have 6 total. So 2 demos, 3 acoustic versions of songs that are on the album, and then 1 is actually a brand new song that's never been heard before. And then we have probably my favorite, the When I'm Gone, the stripped down version. So we're going to pull it's not technically like a re-recording, but we're going to pull all the density out of it and leave it with basically the piano, the gospel choir, have some fun with that. The vocals will be re-recorded as well to, honor our new singer, Goliath, who's a new singer and also original singer. Figure that one out. So, yeah.
So where do we get it? I mean, is there a way to get signed copies? That's my big question. I kind of like signed copies. That's
sure. Cool. Yeah, we'll do it the same way we probably did our last one, where you can get everything from our website, signed copies, hard copies from our website. Other than that, yeah, it'll be available on all streaming platforms, etc.
Do we have a release date on that yet, or plan?
No release date yet, but it'll be. Looking at my calendar here, it'll probably be, I would say, September. Yeah, maybe October. We have new music coming as well, so a new album coming on the way as well. So we're kind of in that mode, and this is kind of just bridging that gap. Maybe you could argue it's a little late, but we want to get it out anyway. So,
so how is? Go ahead, Hop.
How's the touring been so far in 2022? I know you.
It was slow going for a while, but then we made it over to Europe, and Europe was just insane. We really found our home over there. We've been struggling to find our footing in America, and boy, did we find it over there. It's night and day. We were basically selling out rooms. We've never even set foot on the country. And over here, we have to beg our friends and family to come. So it's like, it's a very different world over there. And they are super stoked on live rock and roll music. And they don't just say it, they showed up. And that was awesome. And we had such a good time. We played a lot in the UK, and then we played in Spain as well. And just a phenomenal time that we hoped. It was everything we hoped for, and then more. I don't think we could have even expected it to be as awesome as it was. But as soon as we got home, we realized, okay, we need to go back as soon as we can. So we'll be going back there. We have 1 date booked right now, December 3rd. That's the Winter Rocks Festival in Sheffield. We'll be playing with our friends in the New Roses again. And that'll be super fun. And there will be some more dates after that, but those aren't finalized or announced or anything yet. So stay tuned for other dates, but we'll be back over there as soon as we can.
All right, cool. Ice String, you want to go ahead?
So as a band and as a guitarist, like who are some of your biggest influences, and as a guitarist wise, and then as a band, like who are some of the bigger influences that got you into playing?
Yeah, I think all of our influences are the big ones are worn on our sleeve pretty good. So I think you could probably guess those. For me personally, it was I heard one of my friend's older sisters introduced me to Welcome to the Jungle one year, and I just thought that was it for me. So I just dove into the Guns N' Roses discography, and that's what got me into guitar and all that stuff. And from there, that actually didn't last that long. I dove pretty quickly into like Paul Gilbert, John Petrucci, Steve Vai, like that stuff pretty early on. And so that captured the more like progressive, insane style of guitar playing. And so, yeah, that was kind of for me. It's just all guitar heavy music and a lot of Guns N' Roses early on as well. For the band, yeah, it's Guns N' Roses, it's AC/DC. And then there's a lot of sneaky stuff in there you might not hear. There's a lot of Prince, a lot of funk, right hand, Nile Rodgers kind of licks, especially in songs like "Oh Sugar" and stuff like that. "She's Reckless," we even sneak some in there. What else? Yeah. A lot of Journey is an influence as well as far as the vocal harmonies. It's funny. People will call us another AC/DC clone, which is funny. I know immediately that they've only listened to the first 30 seconds of Mr. Danger and they stopped because as soon as you get to the pre-chorus, it stops sounding like AC/DC. And as soon as you get to the chorus, there's like a 5-part vocal harmony, which I haven't. If you could point me to that AC/DC song, I love it, but I haven't. And the other thing is, people seem to think that's an influence, which the metaphor I thought of a while ago, which I actually really love, is that's like me telling you, like, hey, you played basketball like Michael Jordan. It's like your only response to that is thanks. So that's that's kind of how we feel. You guys sound like Guns N' Roses. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, they did pretty well for themselves. We'll take that.
Yeah. Amen.
I just noticed we forgot something on the video for Old Sugar. As far as the arcade looked badass, is that something that was shot locally?
Yeah, that's a venue in Rock Hill, South Carolina, our hometown. That's right downtown in Rock Hill. It's called Player One Up. They've been really good to us. Our drummer goes there all the time. And it's an arcade bar, so barcades, they do both. And he's got a lot of really cool vintage stuff. And we were searching for an idea for the Oh Sugar video, and we had a lot of different ideas floating around. And then Foz was just like, why don't we just go to the arcade, just film that, just call it a day. So we did that, and we were there on a Saturday night when it was crowded and busy, and there was no lighting, so we didn't end up using a lot of those shots. And then we were there on a Sunday morning. That's when we brought all our instruments in and had full run of the place when it was empty. And it ended up being a really fun video, really easy shoot compared to Mr. Danger was extremely grueling. We were there for 10 hours, all day long from basically 11 to 11. And it was take after take after take. And there was if you watch the video, there was no letting up. It was our first video, we knew that would be the first time people would be looking at us. So we wanted to go, we had conversations about like, if you're not going 150%, like we're going to beat you. So we all were going our hardest at all times for 11 hours or 10 hours or whatever it was. So that was ridiculous. Sucker Punch was grueling as well, but for different reasons. We rented a video studio and we only had it for 3 hours. And we had another video to shoot, which was the Mr. Danger guitar playthrough. So that took the last hour of that. So we really only did that Sucker Punch video in 2 hours. So that was grueling just because of how fast we had to move. So the Oh Sugar video we did third, and we had all the time, all the control, and it was so much easier to do. And then When I'm Gone was the video after that. And that, obviously, we talked about that, stretched over 2 days and all over, the Carolinas, different locations, and rain and all kinds of stuff. So that was grueling for different reasons. That first scene of When I'm Gone, when the drone is going over the river and you see us all standing along the river, that day was like 105 degrees, I swear. Ooh. We were just, and we're in, jean jackets, and we can't be in a bathing suit. So like that was an intense day as well. It was super hot.
So I guess this Mr. Danger, when you was talking about that video a little bit, it made me think, what inspired I Love the Golden Girls shirt as far as the lead singer?
Yeah. Albie just wanted to wear something different. So he wore a Golden Girls shirt for that. I think he wore a Lion King shirt in one of them. He wore a Top Gun shirt. He just always had these funny shirts that he liked to wear. And we got a lot of comments on that Golden Girls shirt, actually.
That figured.
Yeah. I don't even know. He just showed up in it, I guess, expecting me to be like, you got to change. But I was just like, dude, I love it. Let's do
it. Well, I got to say, I enjoyed your Mickey Mouse middle finger shirt. I like that one.
Yeah. Shirt. Yeah. I guess this is a funny thing I heard about that. And I don't personally ever want to get political or bring any of that up. But one of my dad's friends said it was the Nancy Pelosi fan club shirt. And I don't have any opinions on that myself, but I did think that was a pretty funny joke.
I'll go there. I like your dad's friend.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
It's actually another thing we had heard early on. Someone had said, this new band's coming out. They're not political. They're not going for shock value. They're just good music. And that was one of my favorite compliments we ever got, because that's something that I really like to avoid. We're inundated with it all the time now. You're not going to get it from us.
Exactly.
We're not Rage Against the Machine. We're not Ted Nugent. We're just our own thing. And that's, come and have a good time. And then, whoever you are, I don't care.
And realistically, that's what we're paying for, is to see you do your thing and do it well. If you're hiring me to do something for you, you're not hiring for that bullshit. You're hiring me to do what I do.
Right. And there's an element of escapism to it as well. The same reason you go see Avengers 8, it's just to get away from everything for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Totally agree.
All right.
So
go ahead, String.
Go ahead. I was going to say, so we talked a little, you mentioned a little bit about it there a while ago about the COVID. It seems like that kind of helped you guys as far as you got some recording done during that time. Was there anything that kind of bad that happened out of that? I mean, other than the COVID itself and pretty much lockdowns happened, but it sounds like you benefited out of it in the end anyway.
Yeah, so during the worst parts of it in 2020, we were in the studio. When I say the studio, my apartment, our homes. We did everything ourselves. We did all the production, all the recording. No studios were used or anything. It was all us, and all the vocals were done in the closet of my apartment. We had it like foamed up and stuff. It was pretty fun. But so we did that during COVID, and so we decided to get creative and kind of reinvent ourselves, which is, to most people, invent ourselves. This is the first time anyone had ever heard of us. We'd been knocking around doing some stuff before, but to no avail really. So this was our chance to kind of redo everything and make it bigger and better. And that's what we did. And then 2021, it came out and we tried to get some shows. Agency wasn't really working for us the way we were led to believe. So we ended up getting a lot of shows ourselves, just kind of not touring as much. And then we put all of our eyes towards this UK thing and the Europe thing. And then we ended up pulling that off, which was pretty awesome considering all the setbacks we had. And then, we just recently parted ways with our agency. So we don't feel like we're being kind of held back in that regard anymore. And so our eyes are to the future and see where we go from here.
That's awesome.
Looks
so
like
I see Tom Cruise was wanting to know if you were playing on the West Coast anytime.
Tom, you make a lot of money from your films. If you want to fund that would be great. One thing I've learned after this UK thing is people, I guess, grossly underestimate how expensive touring is. It's, sure. People with families will understand. I'm just me most of the time when I go out to eat or something. So when we went out to eat as a band, I was like, okay, now I have to think, times 5. So every meal was like, oh, geez. And then gas, of course, over here is bad enough. And over in the UK and Europe, it's we think we have it bad. It's about $10 to $12 a gallon over there. So it's you'll get a really funny reaction if you complain about gas prices to a European, because they're just like, no. So that's we had to contend with that, and van rentals and flights for 5 people and all that stuff. So over on the West Coast of the United States, yes, and then we'd love to go there, and then but yeah, it's just gas and touring at that point, and then you'll get there and play a show to 0 people, and it'll be like, yeah, well, maybe not.
So if you would, to that end, I mean, that's why I asked the question about where do we order the CD. I know if you guys can sell them through your own website, if it's in a live show, whatever, the money comes more to you. I know through the Amazons and a lot of the channels, they take a lot of that. So would you be willing to, either on the Facebook page or the YouTube page, or even both, put a link to your website to where we can find those? So gosh, I want one personally.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything. If you follow us on any social media, we're always posting about. We always drive people back to our website. Our website's pretty robust. It holds everything. It's really easy to remember. lamaybe.com. Also, thelamaybe.com. They go to the same place. So
great.
Once you get there, it's very straightforward. We have tour, contact, store, home. That's it. And podcast now, I guess. So all the podcasts is there. The store, there's a ton of stuff on there. If you want to support us, that's probably the best way to do it. We're very independent, aggressively so. So everything is pretty much done through us. If you email something, I'm the one that sees the email come through. If you send us, we've had people send us a question like, hey, is there a problem with this order? I'm the one you're talking to. Like, it's not, there's no team. There's no nothing going on. It's us all day. So we're very, proud of being that independent at this point, because everything we've done and everything we will continue to do for the foreseeable future will be us and us alone, because we've just been burned before, so we want to keep keep the power to ourselves for now. We're not, people are like, are you signed? Are you trying to get signed? No, we're not. I'm not trying to have someone take money. So that's kind of where right now.
Different business now than what it was, say, in our heyday in the 80s. It was a lot. I mean, it's a lot different. You see a lot more bands that are doing their own thing and succeeding at, which is awesome. I mean,
well, you even see big bands now trying to get out of labels and do independent. So that should tell you all you need to know. It's certainly easier if you're a big band. Metallica can just do their own thing because people will buy Metallica no matter what.
Yeah.
You don't need a label to promote Metallica. We all know. So, we'll go find it. Us, it's a little different. We don't have the clout yet to negotiate a favorable label deal. So all the label deals we will be offered at this point are going to be what's called a 360 deal, which is not good. And that's where the record labels these days, to get their money back, they take a piece of every single possible thing you ever do. So every time you buy a shirt, they're getting a cut, and stuff like, and they didn't have anything to do with the production of that shirt. So that's kind of what we're trying to avoid right now. Now they do offer a lot of support, and that's good, and we could certainly use that support, but we feel that the costs outweigh the benefits at this point.
So I won't do it on this channel, but sometime if you ever want to catch up, we do the same thing. It's my wife and I, and it's the world we live in, and we compete against big players, but it's, gosh, you've got to work hard and you've got to own it. So love to catch up with you on that, and we could share ideas and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I guess I got one last question. You said that there's a possibility you're working on another album. I mean, is the plan for next year just to keep doing what you're doing?
It's not a possibility. It's happening right now. We have, some songs done. We're getting sessions booked with each other to get other elements done of songs, and we're aiming to release. I guess this is probably a little premature, but we're aiming to release the first single in November. And then another single we're going to attempt to release in December with a video. We'll see if that actually pans out. But we would love to release it in the UK at that festival with the New Roses. So that'll be really fun. And then I'll be turning 30 over in the UK. So that'll be fun too.
Cool. It probably won't be awesome. 5 if you're shooting videos in December, though, around here.
Yeah, we won't be shooting it in December. We'll shoot it probably soon. But releasing it, singles November, December, January, February. We'll get the album out soon after that, because March will be 2 years since Dirty Damn Tricks. So that will be a good. I always liked when a band would release a full length album every 2 years. Now you see a bunch of EPs and singles, and that's cool. Yeah. But we just decided we were being pushed in that direction. Like, you guys got to do an EP, 4 or 5 songs, make them bangers. And we're like, okay. And we were thinking about that. And then I was talking to the guys, and we were just like, let's just do another full length album. Nobody does that. Nobody just comes out with 2 full length albums anymore. So like, let's just do that.
Yeah.
So, and we do try really hard not to have filler, which is all too easy. We found 10 tracks is kind of the sweet spot for no filler. That's another compliment we received on Dirty Damn Tricks, which is one of my favorites as well, is that there's not a lot of filler on it, if any. So that's always nice to hear.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, String, we do a thing called This or That, where we're going to ask you some questions if you're down, and it's really no wrong answer. And I'm going to just hand it over to String and let him take it over.
Of course.
All right. So it's this or that. I threw 2 things at you, whichever comes to your mind first. So we're going to start off with Highway to Hell or Back in Black.
Back in Black.
All right. LA Guns or Faster Pussycat?
Faster Pussycat. They didn't tell me to move my band's logo.
Lita Ford or Joan Jett?
Joan Jett, I guess.
All right. And the last one, Leonard Skinner or the Eagles?
Oh, I got to go Eagles with that. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, we always have a good time with those. We've been going to concerts and asking fans like a lot of these same kinds of questions, and it goes over really well. And you see like people looking off in the distance, like, "Hey, what are they doing? Like, I want to get in on that."
Yeah,
and so we'll get people to come in, and it's
lively debates, I'm sure.
Yeah, it has been.
Yeah.
The famous one I've always heard is Beatles or Stones.
Yeah, and I'm going with Stones myself, but
yeah,
I think most rock guys would.
Here.
I have yet to get into the Beatles still to this day. I listen to their music and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm not a big Beatles fan with them.
Either one of y'all that want to add, Wes or Strings, we appreciate his time.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
Yes, we definitely.
I'll just say,
Yeah, so we're good. Yeah. I was going to say, you just hang on after we click out here, but we want to go in a little bit, a couple other things with you. But yeah, that's all. I think that's all we have for you today. But definitely, we had a blast doing this, even though I was like way behind on my side of it. But I enjoyed what I got to hear of it anyway, and I'm totally blasted by the fact that we get to meet and talk to new up and coming bands and getting to see and then help push you guys out and let more people know about you. So this was a pleasure for us, and hopefully down the road we'll get back together and do this all over again.
Yeah, sure. Thank you guys so much. Much
Really
appreciated.
appreciate your time.
I'll weigh in one last piece and say, Dwight, the coolest takeaway I've got from this is how it broke down the pro mix and some of the different stuff that you do behind the scenes and how you produce all your own stuff. We've had some cool conversations, but that's a piece that I've never heard before. So thanks for sharing that, calling it out and whatnot.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, like I was saying, we're DIY from the very beginning. I did the album art for Dirty Damn Tricks. I made our logo. Like there's all of our posters, everything is in house. So all of our merch designs. So we don't go to other people often for things that we don't have to. Certainly, it's helped us save a lot of money. That's for sure.
Amen to that, brother.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Cool.
Great. Hops Metal Show. Thanks for chiming in. Look forward to seeing you guys soon. Make it a great day.
Hop Metal.